Aston Villa 2, Brighton 2 tactical analysis. Brighton started the game with a pressing intensity. They pushed up and pressed Villa man for man in the first phase. With the use of the keeper Martinez, Villa had a spare player in the back line, and when pressed back, Martinez's position was key to rotating the ball around the back. Martinez's position between the two centre-backs permitted Villa's left-back to take up a more advanced position down the left, because the centre-back at the time, Torres, was happy to play wider. Digne's position caused problems for Brighton, as when the left-back dropped back to assist with the build-up, he was tracked by Lamptey. Noticing this space on the flank, one of Villa's holding midfielders positioned himself out wide, dragging a Brighton midfielder with him. This very often left McGinn in a significant space between the lines of midfield and defence. Villa looked to exploit this space behind the right back on numerous occasions. By using the extra player at the back, they were able to create enough time to play passes to Rodgers on the left to drive into Brighton's third. A Pau Torres injury saw the introduction of Mings in the 20th minute, and Villa had to readjust. Mings took up positions much closer to the keeper, meaning that Digne was reluctant to take up advanced positions in the first phase, as this would have left a large space for Brighton to control. Because Digne's position was much deeper, it allowed the Brighton wide attackers to press him from a hybrid position, and this also allowed Lamptey to remain deeper, restricting space for Rodgers on the left. In response to Lamptey pushing up onto Rodgers, Brighton on occasions dropped one of the holding midfielders between the centre-backs, creating a back four to cover the space on the right. When Villa were attacking down the right, Rodgers' movements into the central areas helped to protect against transitions, and because of his positioning in the centre, it allowed a holding midfielder to shuffle over and assist on the flanks. Whenever Kamara moved over to receive a pass, it pulled the Brighton fullback towards him. Space then opened up behind the fullback for Bailey to exploit, leading to 8 successful dribbles on the right. A Brighton holding mid would need to cover the width by moving into the back line. More combination play down the right saw the two holding midfielders keep their positioning in front of the centre-backs, but it would be McGinn dropping back to take up positions on the right. Intelligent movement from Rodgers meant he drifted in between the lines to play behind Watkins, and also moving up to occupy a centre-back, with Watkins occupying the other. This saw the Brighton backline become more compact. This left Digne in lots of space on the left for switches of play. Brighton positioned their 2 pivot players just outside the penalty box in a slightly staggered formation, with the deeper one being Ayari. Ayari was especially prepared to drop between the centre-backs when needed, to give Lewis Dunk more space on the left. John McGinn was often the player to cover Ayari, with Watkins pressing up on Van Heck. As well as the keeper, this left Dunk as the spare player, with 15 passes being completed from the keeper to Dunk, and a further 16 played to Igor from Dunk. A Villa midfielder had to press up onto Ayari before McGinn could press the left centre-back. By this time, Dunk already had an angle to play a pass into a forward, dropping between the lines. However, his runs were tracked by a defender. With Villa disrupting Brighton's build-up, Brighton switched things up a little. By keeping Igor as a wide centre-back, Brighton were able to stretch their back line across the pitch, and by keeping the 2 pivot players in the central channel, they forced Villa to focus on blocking passes here. This freed up half spaces and gave the wide centre-backs direct access to the wide channels. Lamptey moved up on the right and Adingra on the left. Brighton now had 5 players stretched across the pitch between Villa's midfield and defensive lines, creating an overload. This tactic was evident in the first goal when Enciso dropped deep. He took a defender with him. A ball over the top left Villa with a 2 versus 2. Brighton wanted to keep their wide attackers high and wide so that they could stretch the pitch and try to get behind Villa's defence, so Ayari took up deeper positions, constantly dropping between the centre-backs, and when he dragged a midfielder with him towards his goal, this opened up the central area for a pass from the keeper to a forward dropping into the midfield line. These combinations help to open up Villa's defence and potentially get the wide attackers behind the lines. With both managers feeling they could have got more from this game, and both managers feeling they need more to stake a claim for a European spot, this is probably not the way either manager wanted to end the year. Although both teams in similar positions, with similar goals, they might quietly be satisfied. Thanks for watching.